Teaching is such a noble profession, be it your mother, be it your teachers, college professors, anybody that you can learn from. These human beings are a great inspiration and are worth gifting. So, since it is Teachers' Day tomorrow, I thought I'll share with you this simple miniature clay mug that I'm making with polymer clay. Hello everyone, Ranjitha here. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing to my channel. So for today's project, I'm using this ceramic mug. You can choose any mug of your choice. And before going ahead with the polymer clay miniatures, I'm doing some stationery. So for that, I'm taking this popsicle stick. You can also use a coffee stirrer as well. I found these colored sticks in the craft store, but if you do not have colored sticks, all you can do is take the regular popsicle sticks, the thin ones, or coffee stirrers, and just cut them into size. So first here what I'm doing is I'm just chopping off the curved edge so that I will have a flat end. After that, I'm approximately cutting it at 1/4 inch. The size is entirely optional. You can plan your size according to the size of the mug you need. So since we are doing a Teachers' Day theme mug, I'm making some simple stationery here. For that, I'm cutting down my popsicle stick into a thin strip. So since this is already painted yellow, I'm keeping it like that. But if you have plain popsicle sticks, you can feel free to color them in the color of your choice. So here I'm making a ruler. Since we are making it in Teachers' Day theme, I thought I will add some stationery. So for that, I started by first making this small miniature ruler. And since this is a wooden piece, after cutting there are some rough edges. So for that, I'm taking a piece of sandpaper and just sanding these edges down so that I have a smooth finish. These little things matter a lot when you're making, and the final product will look much better with these simple steps. So after sanding down, all I have to do is make some markings to make it look like a ruler. So for that, I'm taking a permanent fine tip marker and just adding some measurement lines here. So you do not have to be precise here, or just I'm adding 4 small lines and 1 big line, just to make it look like an inch scale. This is a very simple and easy way of making a ruler. You can make it as big or as small as you want according to the size of your project. So here is our simple wooden scale ready to use. So now that we are done with making a scale, we'll go ahead and make some pencils. For that, I'm taking these colored sticks. If you do not have these colored sticks, you can use toothpicks or matchsticks as well, and then color them with the choice of your colors. So since I already have colored sticks, I'm just marking length down. So you can add you can make them as long as or as small as you want. So once I've made a marking with a pencil, I'm just breaking them at the marking that I have made with my finger itself. Since these sticks are quite brittle, you can just break them with your hands. And after that, I'm going to sharpen the tip. So if you remember, back those days when we were in school, we sometimes used to sharpen our pencils with a pen knife or a blade. So that is what I'm doing here, unlike the new age sharpeners. So I'm just taking a pen knife and just sharpening the tip so that it has a pointed edge. It slowly starts beginning to look like a pencil. Very easy and simple way. You can make such miniature pencils and add them into a miniature pen stand, or you can just use them in your other miniature setups as well. These are very quick and easy to make. You can make a bunch of them and store them and just quickly add them in your projects. So as you can see here, I've sharpened these pencils, and now to make it look more like a pencil, what I'm doing is I'm taking a colored marker or a sketch pen and just adding some ink on the tip. Now you can see I've added the color that suits the that is already the color of the stick. So now it's actually looking like a small miniature color pencil. So this is an entire entirely optional step, but it makes a world of a difference by just adding that little dot of ink there. So you can see here our miniature pencils are ready. You can make them as long as you want or as short as you want, and you can also customize them in different colors. So here are my pencils and scale ready. Now let's go ahead and make this mug. So like I told you, we are doing Teachers Day theme. So for that I've taken the ceramic mug. Make sure that you clean it well before starting to work with it. Here I'm using polymer clay, but you can feel free and use air dry clay or any other clay of your choice. I prefer polymer clay because I will have some working time and I have enough time to work with my miniatures, unlike air dry clay which is fast drying. So for that, now I'm taking some black clay and just kneading it carefully into a soft ball. Then I will be rolling it with this acrylic roller into a thin form. Don't make it very thin, keep it even thickness, not very thin or not very thick. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making a blackboard. So as you can see here, I'm working on this cutting mat. This is entirely optional, but I prefer working on a cutting mat because I will have some measurements or guidance on the grid below, and that makes me easy. It makes it very easy for me to cut straight lines and the required size that I want. So as you can see here, I'm using my acrylic ruler and just making it into a flat I'm just rolling it flat, even thickness, and then I'm just cutting it into a rectangle shape. The size here is entirely optional. You can decide it according to the size of your mug or the base that you are using. So I'm roughly making it into a rectangle. This is the reason I work on a cutting mat, because the cutting mat helps me cut into straight lines, and it is very easy for me to know the size of the base as well. So as you can see here, I've got absolutely clean edges because I've been using a cutting mat. Once I'm happy with the size, I'm just smoothing down the edges and then carefully picking it up and placing it on my mug. As you can see here, I'm not placing or adhering it with any specific glue. I'm just using my polymer clay and placing it on the mug. I'm making sure that I am gentle with while pressing it, and I'm taking out all the excess if any, and making sure that the black clay rectangle that we have made is taking the curvature of the mug. Very simple and easy thing. I'm not using any glue, as I have mentioned. I will explain it to you in the end how I'm going to adhere it and why I'm not using the glue. So after this, now we have made the blackboard. I wanted to make a wooden frame around the blackboard. For that, I'm taking brown clay and a little less white clay, and I'm mixing it together, but I'm not mixing it enough so that it'll turn into light brown color, but I'm just roughly mixing it, so I will get this wood like marble effect. So if you see, usually wooden frames have a light texture on top of it. So to achieve that, I'm just roughly mixing this white and brown clay. So as you can see here, I've got little marble or wood like look to my clay. So this is very easy technique that I use. I just take two colors and gently mix it without completely mixing them into a different color. So I would like the white to peek through, and this gives this beautiful texture. Once I'm happy with the texture, I'm rolling it again with my acrylic roller into a thin strip, and then I will be cutting them into thin vertical strips to add as a border for my blackboard. If you want me to make a clay mug in any other theme, feel free to comment below. I would love to try different themes as well. But since Teachers Day is around the corner, so I thought I will share some inspiration for a simple and easy Teachers Day gift that is beautiful and also functional as well. So here, with the help of the grid on the cutting mat, I'm just cutting thin strips. First I'm straightening the edge, and after that I'm just cutting thin strips of this clay. Very simple and easy way. I'm not using any fancy difficult sculpting techniques with polymer clay. All I'm doing is just cutting strips or thin rectangles, and then your gift will be done in no time. So as you can see here, now I'm arranging the thin strip of brown clay on top of the black clay. This is entirely optional. If you wish, you can directly stick it onto the mug, but I thought if I stick it onto the mug, the board would become rather too big for the mug. So for that reason, I'm sticking this brown clay on top of the black clay. So as you can see here, just with a strip of brown clay, the entire look has changed, and now it is looking more like a chalkboard. So very easy and simple way. Now when I'm attaching the brown clay, simultaneously I'm cutting off the excess. As you can see here, I'm using this blade. This is not any fancy tool. I have removed this blade from the normal pen knife or X-Acto knife that we get. So it also comes with some replaceable blades. So I use those blades for my polymer clay, and instead, if you do not have this blade, you can also replace it with a sharp metal scale as well. I'm now adding this brown clay on the last border as well. I'm not being very precise. I'm just adding the brown clay on top of the black clay and just trimming off the excess. With this, our blackboard will be done very easily. I've just used first black clay to make the base for the blackboard, and after that I've gently mixed brown and white clay to give that wood like effect, and added a thin border around this blackboard. So with this, our blackboard is ready. Now I will go ahead and add the other miniatures. So I wanted to add some little chalks here. So for that, I'm just rolling white clay into thin strips like this and just placing it there. As you have observed, I'm not adding any glue as yet to adhere my elements. I'm going to just gently press them together, and since it is polymer clay, it has slight sticky nature and they adhere together, and it is enough for me to bake. Once it is out of the oven, I'm then going to attach each and every piece with the right amount of glue. So now here I'm taking this lavender color clay and just rolling it into a thin strip again, and then on top of that I'm placing this white rectangle. I've made it a little thick. So this will be my book. So the lavender color will be the book color and the white will be the pages. As you can see here on the edges, I'm just making indentations with my blade to make it look like pages. Very easy way. Here I'm making an open book. If you want, you can make it into a closed book as well. So you just need two colors, one for the book cover and the other for the pages. So here I'm making an open book. I've rolled my lavender color clay first, and then on top of that I've placed a white rectangular shaped clay, and I'm slightly bending it in between to make it look like an open book. I felt the size was a little bigger, so I'm just chopping down the edges to make it a little small. So like I told you, the size of the elements is entirely optional. You can just make it in proportion to the mug or the base that you're making. So here I'm happy with my book. So all I'm doing is just placing it on the blackboard on one corner. Here I'm using very simple elements like book and stationery. You can make it as complicated as you want. You can add more elements. Like I told you, I'm making an open book here. You can also make some closed books. You can also make pencils and ruler with clay as well, but I prefer making it with these wooden toothpicks or sticks. Now as you can see here, I have a silicone mold here, and I'm just placing some yellow clay into it, and I'm making small flowers. I have a silicone mold available, so I'm using it. Molds are very handy when you're making miniature clay projects. These are easily available on Amazon or other craft stores. You can also find them in stores which supply baking supplies. So they are usually used for fondant and gum paste arts. So for that, I usually source some molds and keep them, because they come in very handy when you have to make such small items which have to be made in multiple numbers, it saves a lot of time. So you can also make flowers with your hand as well directly, but that's going to take a little while and it's difficult to achieve all of them in the same size and shape. So I prefer using mold, a silicone mold, for such reasons. So here, as you can see here, I've made a big flower and two small flowers adjacent to it. Having a mold makes it very easy and very handy as well. So if you wish to buy something similar, I will try to leave some links in the description below for the molds as well. So as you can see here, just in no time I've made 3 flowers. I chose to keep the design very simple. Like I told you, you can add more and more elements as much as you want, and you can beautify the design according to your choice. So with this, our mug is almost ready. Now I'm going to put it into a preheated oven according to the instructions that the manufacturer has provided on the clay. And once baked, this is how it looks, quite hard and sturdy, and my clay is completely baked. If you remember, we have not used any glue prior to this to adhere our pieces. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the blunt end of my knife here, and I'm going to slightly put it in between the mug and the clay, and as you can see here, the entire piece comes out in one piece. So now I'm going to keep it aside, clean my mug, and then I'm going to add the glue. You can add any glue of your choice, permanent glue, but make sure that it is compatible to the usage. So if you are washing the mug and putting it on a dishwasher, make sure that the glue is compatible to it. I'm just taking an ice cream stick and just spreading the glue evenly. I'm doing the same thing on the mug as well. So usually what I do is I bake all my items on one mug, and then after removing, I'm going to place it on a fresh mug. This way I will always be baking on one mug, and if accidentally the mug gets dirty also, my final artwork will not be affected. So this is an entirely optional step. You can always use the same mug, but make sure that you adhere the pieces after baking and not before baking, because that is going to give more life to your project. So after sticking the clay base, I'm going to add the other miniatures that we have made, the scale and the pencils, with some instant glue. I'm using instant glue here because that is fast setting and quick as well. You can use regular craft glue or wood glue. The choice is yours. So here I'm adding the pencils and a little instant glue. So let me know in the comments below if you want to know the links or if you want to know more details about the glue. Here I'm using an acrylic permanent marker to write a quote on the blackboard. So this is entirely optional. You can write the teacher's name, you can write a quote, or you can just write symbols or letters on the blackboard. So here I'm writing the word inspire, and I realized that my marker was a little bulky and I made a mistake by sticking up the pencils and the ruler first. I should have done it after writing the quote. So in case if you are doing something similar, please keep this in mind. Write your quote first and then add the embellishments around it. It is going to be a little easier to do it. And also, if you want, if you don't have a permanent marker, you can always use a thin fine tip brush to paint your quote or the name of the teacher. So here I am just slightly managing and adding the last letter here. So if you are doing this along with me, add your embellishments at the end, because that's going to become more easier. Now I'm taking a black marker and just adding some dotted lines on my book to make it a little more realistic. With this, our clay mug is ready. Is beautiful. It turned out really beautiful. This is how my mug turned out. I'm going to give it a good coat of varnish or clay gloss at the end. It is going to give it more glossy finish, and it's going to give it more protection. So this was my video today. You can see the close-up videos here. I really liked how beautiful this gift turned out, and I'm sure your teachers are going to love it and cherish it forever. If you like this video too, please consider subscribing to my channel and also do follow me on social media. I will be back soon with another interesting crafty inspiration. Until then, happy crafting. Bye.